Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, TNT bringing all of you along.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Oh, I wasn't plugged in.
Good morning.
That might be a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were talking and I have them in so much that I was like,
Wait a second.
you're not in the mic, so I can't hear you. And you're like right next to me.
Yeah, it is.
And I like having both of them in. That's just me. As some people don't. They are fine with just one. But I like having them both in.
I prefer both, but
Because
I
I feel like I have a balance. When it's one, I feel like it's unbalanced, and I'm such a freak of having things balanced that I needed to have that. I'm sorry. I got to move my picture down because I have half of our stuff is eating my face.
Oh, nice.
Because I put it on the two people screen. Because obviously there's only two of us here.
Today.
So there's no sense in having both of us, with the third camera just on myself. I mean, yeah.
We could have double Tory.
Double Tory. You don't need two of me. I'm bad enough just being one of me. You definitely don't want double Tory. That's dangerous. Anyway, how's everybody this morning?
Here.
I
Tired.
mean, this'll be a discussion. I think we'll continue on this discussion with other people here because it's going to come up again. But I thought it would be a good one to talk about, especially you have kids, and how you deal with your kids on social media is a lot different than the average person nowadays.
This is true because my children have no social media.
They're not allowed to have their own, right?
Correct.
And everything that they do, you watch.
Yes. They get to have like YouTube where they can do YouTube shorts and see the videos and stuff, but they're not allowed to comment unless it's on our show. And they're not allowed to post anything.
Okay.
So they can see the little trends and stuff that their friends are doing and that sort of thing.
What about like Facebook?
Nope.
And what about TikTok?
Nope. No Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Snapchat, none of it.
None of it. Mm-hmm. Now, has it always been that way, or is this something that you guys moved into because you were seeing a reason to change?
No, it's always been that way. We had foster children that were in the home that had social media, and then that would be something that, like, when they did something bad that they were grounded from was their social media, and you could tell the difference in their whole personalities and demeanor when they didn't have all that influence all the time.
Yeah.
And our girls recently just got done with their trauma therapy, and I don't know that their psyches are strong enough to be able to handle the complexities, I guess, of social media. Because both of them have had suicidal thoughts and suicidal issues and ideations and stuff. So our biggest fear is that if they, like, somebody says something, it's going to just destroy them. They don't have the confidence yet or the tools to understand
that the difference between cyberbullying and reality. Mm-hmm. And so are you familiar with the new AI friend bot things? See, and that's part of the issue too, because this is there's a lot of people out there that didn't even know that this existed.
I've seen it on movies, like for in the future, but not.
No, it's here. It's here, and it's now, where you can have a basically a virtual friend, a virtual girlfriend, a virtual friend, these companies have them in the AI form, and it's because they're learning. They want, it's now not the race to the moon. It's not the race for rocket ships and stuff. I mean, Elon Musk is kind of bringing that back, but it's between corporations now.
Right.
But it's the race for AI. It's the race to improve AI and it to be integrated into our lives. Now, I use AI, but I use it to do my music for my songs that I write. But the difference is I only use it halfway. It doesn't write the music for me or the words.
Like the
I write
lyrics
the
and
lyrics, I write the words, and then I use it to make the music because I'm not a musician. I played saxophone when I was in high school, and I was very good. I played bassoon, I played saxophone, I played clarinet. I'm not going to make you a song with, and you don't want me to sing. Like I have some really good music. You've heard some of it. I have some really good stuff. Like I'd like to get it to some artists, to have an artist actually do some of my stuff because it is actually really good. But it is. I mean, there's been a lot of people who are like, where's that song from? I'm like, I wrote it, but I don't know how to play it, and I can't go on an open mic. I am not going to have anyone take my song and go like, I want to do that song after they listen to me sing it. They're going to be like, shut her up! Stop the cat calling. No, and I don't mean cat calling like, hey, baby. I mean like, so I'm not going to get mine heard that way. So the invention of AI for that purpose, I kind of like it, and I use it. But I also am not a cheater in the aspect of I do not go in. There's one program. There's two right now that are really, really good. I own or paid for the licensing on one, not the other. The other one you can literally type in that you want it to sound like Beyonce. You want it to sound like Britney Spears. I think that's wrong. I think that's plagiarism. I think that's wrong. I think that's you shouldn't be trying to make it sound like an actual artist. It happened with I don't remember who it was.
Didn't they have like a Justin Bieber song that came out after the Diddy thing, but it wasn't really Justin Bieber? It was an AI?
Yeah, there was one of those, but there was another celebrity that I think was a rapper or whatever, and an AI version of him came out, but it went viral. Like viral, went so viral that everyone thought for sure it was him.
Oh, wow.
To the point, and I don't remember who it is. So if somebody remembers who it is or can look it up, it was so good that he recorded it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that I could see. I would love for somebody to hear some of the stuff I've done. And I don't mean the jingles I've done for the show. They're cute, but I'm not looking for somebody to do girl talks. But it's other songs that I've made, ballads, some ballads that I've done, some country songs that I've done. And I would love for somebody to hear it and go like, that's really good. I'd like to record that, so there should be an avenue. And this is where I think they could help with the AI for artists, where they have an avenue to submit your AI, if you wrote the lyrics, not if you let the AI write the music for you entirely, because I think that's just say here, I have an AI program that wrote me a song. But if you physically wrote the words and you put them into because you can give them prompts and they can write it, or it says create your own.
Okay.
Create custom or whatever, and you put it in, and then it'll create the music to go with it. When I've done that, I've had to listen to it. I'm like, ooh, that word shouldn't be there, like it's too long or whatever, and I'll change it up, and then I'll have to rerun it sometimes over 150 times before I get the song to sound the way I want it to sound. Because sometimes they don't say the words correctly. sometimes you can hear the miss. Sometimes you can tell it's AI, like really badly.
Oh no.
So it takes some work. So there should be some credit in that aspect. Like, you're not going to come up with a hit by putting in some prompts and the first one they generate is going to be, that's the one.
Like
no.
Chat GBT can do everything for you.
Yeah. Well, and that's where this has become is they've taken Chat GBT to the next level of friends for people that are lonely, people that are alone. And they have somebody to talk to. They have somebody to chat with that it becomes their friend. And you can go through a character list and you can pick who you want them to be.
That's creepy.
And I think that's creepy. I think it's, I don't remember what it's, something eroticism, but it's, anyway, we're going to listen to a little bit of Megyn Kelly on this topic real quick. Hopefully.
Its impact on the mental health.
Let me go back just a little bit. I'm going to share my screen so we can see that. All right, let's listen to this from Megyn Kelly real quick. And we'll listen to little bits and parts of her guest on it, too.
People go abroad and spend thousands of bucks to get rid of a sagging jawline or a double chin.
Oops, I don't want to
Saturday morning cartoons. We cared.
Man.
Dangers of social media for years, particularly its impact on the mental health of children. He's a hero. Here he is in the hit 2020 documentary, The Social Dilemma.
I don't know any parent who says, yeah, I really want my kids to be growing up feeling manipulated by tech designers, manipulating their attention, making it impossible to do their homework, making them compare themselves to unrealistic standards of beauty. Like, no one wants that.
Yeah, that's why you keep your kids off social media, because it really is a problem. And he's a tech giant. That's how he got his start. That's how he made his money. And he was on this documentary about the fact that, like, he is one of the bigwigs in all of that. He stepped down away from it now. Now he's advocating against certain things and trying to help regulate. But in his house, none of his kids were allowed to have a phone. And I can't remember who he worked for. She just said it. I can't remember already. But, like, he didn't allow phones and social media in his own home, even though he developed it.
I don't understand
He's like,
now.
because he knew what the algorithm is for. The algorithm is to make you want to be focused on it, want to be, and
instant gratification.
I mean, it's the same thing with when PS2, PS1, the game systems were coming out and getting more involved with the graphics and everything else. And kids' addiction to playing games was so bad and so strong. Now it's into this next realm of social media. And now we're moving into the third realm of gaming, social media, AI. And you kind of mix those three together. And I think that's a lethal combination.
Absolutely.
I think it is extremely dangerous because I'm already don't live in reality sometimes. Like, I talk to myself.
Yeah.
I have arguments with myself. I can't imagine having an imaginary friend that actually argues back with me. Like,
So bizarre.
and that's what an AI friend would be. Somebody who would argue back with you or talk to you. So from listening to and you should listen to this one. This was Megyn Kelly's show, RFK, Hedgeth Path to Confirmation and Dangers of AI with Halperin Spicer. I think Spicer and the Harris part was separate. But just go listen to Halperin. And what he talks about and what they talk about. It's dangerous. This is iRobot. I mean, they're not robots.
Yeah.
They're just artificial intelligence through your computer screen, through your phone screen.
And it probably won't be too long until they are robots.
Right.
And sitting right next to you on the couch watching TV.
Yeah. And the only
creepy.
the only thing they can't do is eat your popcorn.
That's creepy.
That's creepy. Like, we need to have humor. And I know that part of it is because we need to have connection. Mm-hmm. We're made to have connection.
Absolutely.
We need that. We need to have connection with people. It's who we are. So when we're getting more antisocial, we still need connection. So now they're just going to have connection being these AI creatures. I mean, to me, that seems really dangerous. Anyway, we'll get back to what he's saying here.
No one does.
We used to have these protections when children watched Saturday morning cartoons. We cared about protecting children. We would say, you can't advertise to these age children in these ways. But then you take YouTube.
Yeah, like, remember back in the day,
Beer commercials weren't
beer
on
commercials
Sunday,
weren't on Saturday
cartoons.
morning
Yeah.
cartoons, and they couldn't have smoking in any commercials.
Yep.
Nor, I mean, old cartoons, they had smoking in them, they had drinking in them, and then I think by my era that was eliminated. Mm-hmm. They couldn't have any of the characters couldn't be smoking. I think they did at the beginning, like when I was real young, but by the time I was a teenage age group, and I still love cartoons every now and then. If I see a cartoon pop on, I'll be like, oh my God, and I'll watch it for a few minutes or something. But Saturday morning cartoons was a big thing.
It was.
And you got up every morning. I had my bowl of cereal and I would go watch Saturday morning cartoons, but they didn't have advertisers for even menstrual products, for beer, for alcohol, for smoking,
Condoms,
pregnancy tests or drugs, or none of that was allowed. Like, now where the influence part came in, though, what were the commercials?
Toys.
Buying toys, buying things, buying toys, so that when you got done with that Saturday morning cartoon, you wanted that new Barbie house.
Yep.
By the time that was over with, and if you weren't taking me, I didn't worry so much about it, but there are a lot of people that, you wanted that Cabbage Patch doll or whatever it was. I had one of those, by the way.
Cabbage Patch dolls?
I did. I had a Cabbage Patch doll. I don't remember her name or any of that. I do remember that I had a Cabbage Patch doll, though. But I think I got my Cabbage Patch doll right before it became like what we call today viral. But back then it had gotten so viral that like they were selling for a lot more money and you couldn't find one because they had sold out.
Everybody needed them.
Everybody wanted one. It was my era Stanley. But I think I got mine before. I got mine at my birthday or something. So come Christmas time, just watch for what the trends are at your birthday time. Unless your birthday's around the holidays, then you're screwed. Because whatever's trending by Christmas, they're all sold out. But in July,
You can get them.
you can get usually what's kind of starting the trend. Of course, I've always been the person that when I was in school, whatever was trendy, if I started doing something and then it became trendy, I stopped doing it. Mm-hmm. I did not like to be a trendy person. I like to be different. So as soon as something got popular with everybody doing it, like I might start it because I saw it and I thought it was cool, but it's not from social media influencers. And so a lot of the things we did, we kind of felt like they were more individualized. Like I came up with that. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You saw it on, MTV
TV or something.
You saw it on MTV, Johnny Depp on 21 Jump Street or something was doing it or whatever, or the bandana around the boot or whatever from Breakfast Club. You know, that became very popular. Everybody was doing it. You know, and then the bandanas around your wrists. I did that, and you know, that was from the, you know, like Motley Crue's and stuff like that.
80s bands.
80s bands, 80s hair bands, you know, and later on in life is when I learned that's where they hid their drugs. They put drugs right in the little folds, and they could just open it up, and I'm like, oh,
That makes sense.
that makes a lot more sense now. But so now we have this AI coming into the mix, and wow, so much more dangerous. So much more dangerous. All right. And I do have to keep interrupting him because you can't let anybody's show just run,
Right.
or they'll
Copyright.
copyright. And, you might get it anyway, but it's not like we make a lot of money off of being monetized. I don't think we've made one penny. So I'm not too worried about the money part of it. I just don't want them to shut my videos down.
YouTube for kids, and it gobbles up that entire portion of the attention economy. And now all kids are exposed to YouTube for kids. And all those protections and all those regulations are gone.
And YouTube for kids is not always for kids.
Yeah. Well, it's not. And the problem too is parents, I think they feel a sense of safety when they hear for kids. Mm-hmm. Like Nickelodeon for kids. Originally Nickelodeon was just for kids. You didn't have to say Nickelodeon for kids. But then they had to go to Nickelodeon for kids because there was Nickelodeon that it doesn't say for kids, is more like preteen and teenagers. Yep. So the stuff that's for kids, or adult cartoons, you're supposed to assume that for kids means it's acceptable for like 2 years old to 8, 9, 10 years old. And I've come across some of those things, and you know, I might stop for a second and I'm like, wow, that is so inappropriate. Like, it is so inappropriate. And the sexual content, innuendos, are the overture of that is so high. Now, I'm not saying we need to be an oppressed society for sex. Like, we shouldn't make kids think that it's bad. Because sex is not bad, but it can be dangerous.
It doesn't need to be shoved down 8-year-olds' throats.
No, exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's homosexuality or heterosexuality.
I don't want my kid reading a book on Joe sticking his wiener into Mary.
Right.
You know, any more than I want to hear Joe sticking his wiener into Chuck.
Right.
You know, I don't want my kid to read that, and he's 31. My youngest is 31. I don't want him reading that, you know. But it's not appropriate no matter what. I don't care if it's the argument out there is it's helping them to cope with their what they're changing are. So many things I think are not set in reality. Like, I was such a tomboy growing up.
Me too.
Like, the biggest tomboy ever. And if I was growing up in today's society, I would have been convinced by social media, the news, probably teachers, probably friends, that I was trans, that I was a boy, that I thought I was a boy, because I was so tough, boyish. I didn't like, I wore them when I had to, but I didn't like dresses. I didn't like to dress up. I didn't like to be frilly. I never got into the makeup trends. I never got, you know, I was always happy to be just, if I went out and played a game with boys, I would get just as rough and just as tough as they were.
Yeah, I was the same way. And most of my friends were boys, not girls.
All my friends were
Never
boys.
got along with
I didn't get along. I mean, I was the one that and I apologize today if I'm still friends with you. And I did this to you. Excuse me. I apologize. Please forgive me. I was young and dumb. But, boys will chase girls with reptiles and stuff. You were talking about that yesterday. Your dad would have a snake in his pocket and tell you to go get your money out of the pocket, and it's a snake.
Yep.
And, which sounds really inappropriate
does.
when you say it
really
like that.
does.
It was an actual snake.
It was a for real garden snake.
It wasn't like
No.
dad being creepy.
No.
Well, he was creepy, but on an actual snake level. Okay, we're gonna skip that one now.
Anywho.
But guys would chase, and I didn't care. Like, it didn't bother me. So one day they were chasing a bunch of girls with a lizard, and I was drinking from the drinking fountain when they came running in, and the girls are screaming, and they go run into the bathroom to get away from them. And most of the boys were like the boys I played with and hung out with and stuff. So they came running up to me with it, and I was like, "Oh, cute!" And I took it, and like put it on my hand, and then I put it in my hair, and I had ponytail or something on, and I let the lizard just walk around on my head and stuff. And they're like,
That's no fun.
it ruined the fun for the boys because
Right.
they're like, give me my lizard back. I'm like, what were you guys doing anyway? And they're like, oh, we're chasing the girls with it. And and I was like, okay, well, give me it. So I took the lizard and I chased the girls into the showers and then turned the showers on.
How rude.
That was really bad. Like, now that I'm older, I realize, and I wasn't bullying one particular person. I turned the showers on all of them. 'Cause they all ran into one shower and huddled in the shower to get away from the lizard, and then I turned the water on. That was horrible. That was mean. So if you were that person that happened to, I apologize. But I just wasn't afraid of them. So if I were today's kid, would I succumb to this influence of you're probably trans?
Probably.
You're probably a
You'd
boy.
at least question yourself.
I would start questioning myself, and that's what I think is the fine line between a danger zone. Because when I hit puberty, I liked boys. Mm-hmm. A lot of the boys I hung out with and played with, I started liking them.
Yep.
But I was just one of the boys, so they didn't like me back, which was hurtful. But then I started becoming pretty, and I was fun. And then as I started dating, I got the guys that would say, "You're the best, of both sides, because we can go out and play mud football, and you'll play with us and get muddy and dirty, and then you go home and take a shower and get cleaned up and get dressed up, and you look really pretty, and we go out." Because by then, of course, I did do some of the makeup. I did do the hair. I didn't do it all the time. So I was comfortable wearing a ponytail and a hat and playing. And I was also comfortable dressing up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And some of my dress up was still jeans and a cute shirt or something. It didn't mean I had to be in a skirt or a dress.
Right.
But, so I was kind of like that cool balance that guys like. And as I even got older, as an adult, guys would tell me the same thing. Dude, it's really cool that you can, work on cars, and you can do this, and you know how to use power tools, and you know how to use all this stuff, and you're really versatile, when it comes to those things. Now on the other side, you can have guys that I had a date that came to my house one time before I met my husband, and he came up. And he had a really cool truck, by the way. But I was in my garage with my motorcycle up on the stand working on my bike. And I was changing out the clutch or something. And he walks in and he's like, "What are you doing? Whose bike is that?" And I'm like, "It's mine." And he's like, "Oh." And I said, "I take it I can't remember his name now. I'm just going to say a name. I take it you're Pete." I don't know what his name was. I have a friend named Pete, so not you. But he's like, "Oh." And then he looks around and I have a lot of tools and stuff. He's like, well, are you married? I'm like, no. And he's like, well, whose tools are these? Did you keep his tools when you kicked him out? And I'm like, these are my tools, dude. And he's
Don't
like,
be a tool.
yeah, don't be a tool. And he's all, what? These are your tools? And I said, yeah. And I had like toolboxes and actual tools. And, you know, I had a real car lift, you know, like you see in NASCAR and stuff. You know, I didn't have
The little ones that come with the car.
yeah, no, I had good stuff, and you could tell like I have tools. And he literally looked at me and went, whoa, you're like way too man for me. He turned around, walked away, and went, got in his truck and left.
Okay.
And I was
Well,
like,
at least he was aware.
at least he was aware. And I was like, bye. Another time I was at a grocery store. And this is when I was with the fire department. Now I wasn't a firefighter, like a paid firefighter. I volunteered at a fire department on my off time. I was a police officer and a volunteer firefighter. So it's a little confusing, but whatever. So I was inside the grocery store in my fire shirt and pants and fire truck outside because we were going grocery shopping. I had duty for that week. And some guy runs up to me and he's like, are you a firefighter? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, quick, come, I need your help. And of course, in my mind, someone's hurt or
It's an emergency situation.
right. Or there's a wife in the back of the car, like giving birth, you know. He had a flat tire on his truck
What?
and he didn't know how to change it. And he was late for an appointment. And I was like, you got to be fucking beautiful truck. Again, they did the truck. Beautiful truck. And I helped him, but I made him do it. Like I showed him and then I made him do it. And after it was done, he's like, tried to give me his phone number. And I'm like, dude, I don't date guys that can't even change a tire. Like I'm not going to be the man in this relationship.
Right.
I want my equal kind of thing. So I would have succumbed to a lot of what they're pushing had this been a thing probably when I was a teenager, and it would have continued. It would have gotten worse. But there's a lot of these people, if you look up some of the stuff going on now with detransitioning, and I'm not saying there's not some people that have gender dysphoria. That's a real thing.
It is.
And some people have a real situation with it. And for them, bless them and do what you need to do or whatever. But if you're following into a trend or in these detransitioner videos that they're putting out there, like this is dangerous. You know, my sex organs don't work anymore. I have zero pleasure, and not all of them end up with that, but a lot of them say that is part of it. It's also the reason why so many of them have chosen not to do the full surgery, because once the doctors give them the full thing, and a majority of those are the more adult people that are to that point. But they're like, my body is messed up. I have so many medical problems now because of being on these hormones and these drugs that aren't meant for my chemistry. My body is not meant to do those things, and you're trying to manipulate it and it's fighting back. So now I'm having worse problems, and then it hasn't solved the suicide rate.
The human brain isn't even fully developed until the age of 25. So,
Right,
in
so
my
why-
opinion, the parents should not be making that choice for the children, and the children can't make it for themselves because their brain isn't even fully functioning.
Well, and I
yet.
wonder if there are people out there that, oh, I wish I had a girl. So start dressing them like a girl. Oh,
I'm sure.
I wish I had a boy. I know my husband really wanted a boy.
My sister had a rat's tail, like from the age of 3 until she was like 8. Short hair with a rat's tail, because my mama wanted a boy.
Yeah. Well, and so I think some of that can be really dangerous. Now
Absolutely.
you add in this AI feature of a friend who can continue pushing this agenda. And that's what I worry about with AI. AI has somebody creating the algorithm. It has somebody creating the coding. It has somebody creating how do you, and I remember when the first interactive books came out and stuff that you could plug in and how what you decided drove the story, but it was pre-programmed. If you said this, it went this way.
Yep.
If you said this, it went this way.
I forgot all about those books.
And then when it got to another level, the same thing. And it eventually drove you to the end of the story. But there was only so much it could do. Like there was ABC. You pick this, or this. It wasn't like
An infinite amount of choices.
and now it's infinite. You can just talk to it like I'm talking to you, and nobody has to be there. Nobody home.
That's so
I think that is so creepy and so dangerous. But the kids who are super lonely or having problems with friends at school, are they also not being fully honest with their parents that they're lonely and have no friends at school?
probably
or
they're embarrassed.
Or do they just find that this is available? Because the one kid, what we're getting to is the one kid that this happened to, his mom was very controlling over his social media and everything. This is not social media. This is outside of social media. So they can be not on any of the socials, and it's an app. And you don't even know what the app is because it sounds like innocent kind of thing. So
There's apps that you can hide in apps.
I think those should be illegal. I think that you should not, companies should not be able to build an app. Now, and there's a devil's advocate to that one. Like if you're in domestic violence, I think it's great to have the fake app that you're actually talking to someone that might help you in a DV situation to help you get out. So it's a backdoor way, and sorry, didn't mean it like that, but we're all
backdoor
dirty-minded.
Christmas?
But it's to keep him, because if he's controlling and he or she is controlling and they're watching your phone, it just looks like a game app or something. What were you doing? And if they go to click on it, it opens as a game. You have to do a game combination, or you have to do something a certain way for it to open the actual thing. I think that's okay because of the purpose. But these ones that are really meant to just hide nefarious things,
Like
I think those are
sexy pictures and
dirty pics,
the phone call logs,
yeah.
and text messages.
hiding, spouses. I mean, like now you can say, well, we have open thing with each other. Like Steve and I, we both have each other's passcode, although I keep trying to use my thumb on his and it doesn't work. And every time I do it, he laughs at me and goes, it's still not going to work. Cause I'm so quick to, just put my thumb on it. But I have access to his phone. If I say, if I don't have my phone, I'm like, give me your phone for a second. I can go look up something because I can get right into his phone.
Yep,
But at
same
the
here.
same time, there are hidden apps that if he were doing something, I would have to probably spend a long time on his phone to try to find it or figure it out. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that, so it's not a problem. My husband would have to go somewhere to do anything, so I'm not worried about it.
Right.
And I don't mean like he's always gone, but he's always working, so it's anyway. But they have those. I think that's bad. It's bad for marriages. It's bad for hiding things. You shouldn't be getting dirty pic. I think it's gross.
Yeah, I agree.
I have never thought that was hot or sexy anyway. I do not want you to send me a naked picture of your wiener. I don't care. I've never been like, ooh, that's hot. No. I mean, even when I was younger and
Penises
sexy
are gross
guys
looking.
and stuff, they're weird. They're not attractive at all in any way, shape, or form, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Back in the day when you see sexy guys and stuff, the sexiest to me was, his jeans down just a little bit where you could just see a little bit of the little trail of hair, and his abs or his hips, and no shirt. Leave the pants on, please. Yeah. I don't even like seeing them in their underwear. Like, I think underwear look weird. Boxers, I've always liked underwear. Boxers. But if I see a man in tighty whities, I think, Dad. Because my dad always wore tighty whities.
Oh, no.
And my dad would walk around in his underwear. He didn't care, but he had underwear on. And it's not a big deal. And it was, my dad slept in a white t-shirt and his tighty whities. So when he got up to go to the kitchen and get a glass of water, he didn't get dressed, So it was, so to me, tighty whities is my dad.
Oh, gosh.
Which is a whole nother thing of calling dude daddy. Ew.
I can't handle that either.
I think
creepy.
that's disgusting. That's,
sorry if you do it, but I can't.
You obviously have daddy issues, or you didn't have one. And I know there's some people that start referring to their wives as mommy or daddy because of the kids, maybe is how it started or something. And then she starts calling him dad. No, you're not my daddy. My daddy is reserved for one person. And I'm not going to, I'll call you daddy to my kid.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to call you daddy.
Yeah.
No. I have a dad. And there was only one. And you aren't it.
Yeah, in referencing my husband, he's always baby or
whatever reason, we lost our mic. So I'm going to reboot this mic for a second. I hate when this happens, but please be with us. Happens, I can't even play music because that's all through this too. So it's not like I can play. So sometimes, I don't know what happens, but sometimes the mics just go out and all I have to do is click the mic and turn it back on. But what happens is then it sounds choppy and it sounds like something's wrong with it.
Oh,
so
has
if
to
I
be
don't,
reset.
if I don't reset it and reboot it, then it sounds really bad to the viewers. And I don't know if it would do it every time, but the few times I have watched back, I'm like, oh, the sound is so bad from that point on.
Ooh.
So I guarantee you nobody listened any further. I'd rather tell people, hold on a second. So anyway, we're going to get back to this AI thing.
We're training, conditioning whole new generation of people that when we are uncomfortable, or lonely, or uncertain, or afraid, we have a digital pacifier for ourselves.
Digital pacifier.
That's good.
That is the best way to talk about it, because even for me, if I see a child that I, in my own opinion, thinks is too old to be on a pacifier, I want to walk up to some strange parent and go, take that out of your kid's mouth. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to make their teeth bad. It's going to, it's
They're gonna have buck teeth or need braces
and they're gonna have some kind of
or rot your teeth.
mouth issues, so take that out of your kid's mouth. But you don't do that. You don't say that. Well, what about social media? What about this thing? What about not taking this out of people's hands?
My twins, the younger ones, are the only ones in their grade that don't have direct access to a phone at any time because they don't have their own phones. They're 10 and they don't have their own phones. Most of everybody in their class has their own phones, or they have like specific ones in the house that they can use whenever they want to.
Wow.
That's
Now, what age do you think is appropriate for a kid to have a phone?
I would say it depends on the child, and it depends on what the child is involved in. Like our big girls, they got phones, I think, in fifth grade. But Isabel was leaving to go on a trip where she wasn't going to be around, so she could have contact with us. And then she started doing sports, and she was all the time doing sports. So either her dad would have to pick her up, or my husband, or myself.
So sending the message, "Hey, we're done,"
Yeah.
or whatever, because you
Time
only
to come get us.
you only
or
live
practice.
you only
late.
live like 5 minutes away, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So then, for that aspect, she got to keep the phone after the trip. And now they send you messages all the time when, all right, my test is done. You can come get me early, or I don't feel good. Can you come get me? That sort of thing. So they have constant communication with all the adults.
Do they have to be dead or dying to come get them?
Basically.
Okay. Well, because there's a lot of kids out there. There's a video out there about that, the 80s kid, and it's, in the nurse's office. I'm telling you, I know what he's going to say. And they call, and he's like, "Dad, I've thrown up 48 times, and I have a fever." And I know. I told her that.
I understand.
Bye. Hangs up and goes, "He said no." And then they show another one that's a girl, and it's 2024, and it's, "Hi, Dad. I think you need to come get me from school. The nurse has taken my temperature 12 times, and we finally got it to 98.9 or 98.7.
No.
It took us 12 times to take it to get it up 0.1. Yeah. I think it's a pre-fever fever. So I think you need to come get me. I need to go to the doctor and get on some antibiotics right away. Okay, I'll tell you you're on your way. And I mean, it is part of the problem. The other part of the problem is I don't have any. Yeah, I do. This shit, hand sanitizer. I have some on here. I don't use it on my hands. I put it on a paper towel and I'll wipe down some of this stuff if I've been sick or whatever. But we used to play in the dirt and eat the dirt and eat whatever. And, if your mom said sandwiches, I'm not going to lie. I didn't run in the house and wash my hands before I ate the sandwich. I just came in, grabbed my plate, and ran and ate my sandwich with my dirty hands, and probably
didn't even have a plate. It was probably just a paper towel.
probably just or not anything.
Or nothing.
And I just ran back into the dirt and was eating it while playing with whatever it was I was playing with. But I don't remember a lot of being sick when I was younger.
No, not really.
I really don't. And I think so many of the medical problems people are having today is because of the hormones in our foods, the preservatives in our foods. We're trying to have formaldehyde in us before we even die. We don't need to be preserved. And if you eat enough preservatives, I think it starts affecting your organs and your body. And then you have artificial preservatives. Basically artificial intelligence adds to that. Like they said, you have a pacifier, you have a phone pacifier. If you're bored or
Pull it out.
you're lonely or whatever, you just pull it out and you start. And I know even myself, I find I'll have been scrolling or playing a game on my phone or doing something, and I'm like, I need to do the dishes.
You just lost 2 hours.
I just lost 2
mindlessly
hours
scrolling.
mindlessly doing something, and I'm like, oh, I have. What time is it? Holy shit! What time? Like you lose time because you got caught up doing something that has zero importance and is unnecessary, but it kept you busy.
Yeah, kept your mind occupied.
Kept your mind occupied, kept you busy. And I mean, like, it's gotten so bad. I know that I have at least adult ADHD. I didn't have these issues when I was younger, but I definitely do now. But, I can't even watch a TV show or a movie anymore without my phone in my hand, scrolling or playing a game or doing something. I have to multi, and it's not really multitasking because you're not fully focused on one thing. Yeah, you might be able to hear somebody having a conversation, but are you fully engaged in that? No, you're not. And there's been a study at Harvard that says people that say they can multitask, not really. They can somewhat. Women are much better at it than men. But did you get the entirety of something or did you get pieces and parts?
More like active listening.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So now you add in this AI feature. And are you going to become more disengaged with your parents because you got a buddy, you got a friend? And if you told your parents, oh, I'm just talking to my friend.
Are they going to even think to ask if it's an AI friend or if it's an in-person, an IRL friend in real life?
Yeah, exactly.
So true. Tristan's a big reason why there's now such a strong consensus that social media is harmful to children. They just banned it in Australia. But there's a new problem with children and tech. It's a bad one. It's called AI companion chatbot. They are called AI companion chatbots. And these are basically artificial intelligence friends that kids can text back and forth with, but they're no friends at all. The leading company in the field is called Character AI. Character, like a character, AI. It signed a nearly $3 billion.
So just remember that character AI. So if you're curious, go and look on your kid's phone and see if for any reason they have character AI or one of them like that. Because they are disguising it as just an app. They're just disguising it to make it look like it's.
Or you could probably make it look like it's a filters app or it can do something to pictures or something instead of actually being a chat bot.
See, and this is when you become old and fucked up. What's it called again?
Character AI.
See, like I can't even remember. Yep, character AI, first thing. And C.AI. Compete in the 12 days of Christmas. Super intelligent AI chatbots that hear you, understand you, and remind you.
Not creepy at all.
Not creepy at all.
Licensing deal with Google earlier this year, and they have reportedly described their product as super intelligent chatbots that hear you, understand you, and remember you. Here's the co-founder of Character AI describing why it's going to be so helpful to lonely and depressed people.
It's going to be super, super helpful to like a lot of people who are lonely or depressed. Like, for one, like in terms of like some huge value it'll add, it means, like somebody follows like a celebrity or a character or something, and they feel connected, even though like the connection is really like only one way.
I'm sorry. That to me would be like breeding that problem of thinking you're in a relationship with somebody that you're not.
I don't understand why making somebody feel like they have a connection with somebody that's not really there would be beneficial to them at all.
No, it's like when you see friend requests come from some celebrity and they have the fake blue check mark or whatever. And I've gotten those.
I've got hundreds from Elon Musk for some reason.
Yeah. Elon Musk has never reached out.
He's even
Not
messaged me offering to give me millions of dollars.
Even fake Elon Musk has not sent me a friend request. What the hell? But I have gone into like the groups where it's like a but they try to pretend they're really them and they're talking to all these people and they're like, "Oh, you're so great." You know, they'll have a video or whatever and then you see all these people and saying something and I'm like, and they think they're actually interacting with this actual celebrity. And then I go in there and burst their bubble and I go, "You do know this is fake, right? This is not actually Toby Keith. This is not actually so-and-so." And they're like, "Oh, how do you know?" Seriously? You think...
Because you don't think they have better things to do with their time.
You don't think they came and they're just like, "Oh, you want to be my friend?" I mean, come on, use a little deductive reasoning for God's sake. It's not real. It's fake. And there's so much fakeness out there that it's almost hard to discern real. Like when there was some first videos back when a lot of the viral videos came out, like helping somebody, rescuing an animal, helping someone, giving something to a homeless person or food to somebody who needed it. Those were cool. That's cool that you did that. Well, people realized, oh, that makes you go viral. So they fake it and they do it now I think it's fun when you know that it's fake. Like the cop that pulled over the cat and then the cat and the owner, that one's fake.
Yeah.
Like it's not a real cop and it might be a real cop.
It might be just a skit of what they would do if that were to happen.
It might have. All three of them might have been. Well, the fat guy probably wasn't. He's a dispatcher. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But it could be a cop and his friend, and he's like, "Hey, do this with me." Okay, that's cool. But we knew that was not a real stop because first of all, if they were recording. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that whole thing. It wasn't real, but it was funny and it was meant to be a funny video. Mm-hmm. It wasn't made to make you think it was real. But the ones where I'm going to go up and I'm going to give this homeless guy, I'm going to give him an offer of something. And if he answers the questions right, I'm going to give him $500. It's fake. It's bullshit. And that homeless person probably ain't even homeless.
Right.
You're just doing it to try to get a viral video. I think it's disgusting. Like the Mr. Beast. Are you not familiar with him? Mr. Beast.
Isabel asked me if he went to jail, but I didn't know who he was.
So there's Mr. Beast, and then there was somebody else on his channel with him or whatever that was came out as trans at some point, and they were apparently engaging in inappropriate contact with a minor. So I think that person has been charged or at least been arrested or something. I don't know because I don't follow it, but I got caught up with looking at some of Mr. Beast stuff. But as I watched it, I'm like, there's something dirty and nefarious here. Like, why are they so into getting so many people doing stuff? Okay, he got popular and he started making a lot of money. He was sharing it with people, yes. But then I like to investigate. My investigative journalist part of me, I want to know more. I want to know more about what's really going on behind the scenes so I could go and start investigating. Has he followed through with the things he's promised? Has he done? And there's been a lot of no, he hasn't. But his videos go viral because it looks like a pretty cool thing he's doing at the time. But there are people that are now suing him because they won whatever it was that he was doing,
And he didn't come through.
Didn't pay it, or he came up with, oh, you failed to do this, so I don't have to pay it or whatever. Well, it's starting to prove to be a problem. So I don't know if he's gone to jail because I kind of stopped watching anything that had to do with him because I got to a point where I thought he was creepy. But the problem is too many people can get attached to something before they realize there's a nefarious part. And it may not be that they started that way, but like anything out there, so few people can get to fame and fortune and I don't know what the word I want, because viral is the word, but viral used to be you got a disease.
Right.
Like,
it was a sickness.
yeah. And that's why I think it is a sickness. And we have to get back to the word viral, meaning something sick, something that is running through everybody, and step back from it and not conform to that. I love when I hear you go, I don't know who that is. Because it means your life is not focused on, doesn't mean my life is focused on it. I just do a lot of research. I want to know what's going on, and I feel for people that have kids today, because I don't know what it would have been like for me growing up as a kid,
Oh my
if all
gosh.
of this stuff was available.
My childhood would have been totally different, for sure.
I feel for these kids not knowing how to play the way we used to play, because it's not done the same unless you make your kids not have that stuff. Like I went for a period of time where I didn't even have TV in the house. Read a book. Go
Use
play
your
outside.
imagination.
Use your imagination. Go outside. Read a book. Play outside. Go ride your bike. Go do something. But you're not watching television. Like I got to a point where I thought, TV was taking up way too much consumption time and you're not absorbing the right stuff. But nowadays, can you even be careful about the books? Because if your kid brings home books from school and they're like, oh, I'm going to go in my room and read these books that I brought home from school. Well, he brought them home from school. There can't be anything
They have
wrong
to be
with it.
good.
They must be okay. Are you going in there and saying, okay, hold on, give me your books. Let me see what books you have.
Let me read them first.
Let me read them first, and it's not Catcher in the Rye, dude. I mean, it's some really disgusting things that they're able to pick up in the school
And
library.
Catcher in the Rye is banned.
And Catcher in the Rye is banned. Oh, okay, because some bad people once read Catcher in the Rye. Well, everybody from that era read Catcher in the Rye. We didn't blow everything up. I mean, if it was because of that book, there'd be no buildings left because we all would have blown something up. Yeah. So now back to this AI thing. And look at how happy this guy is to introduce this.
He says like too many times for me to take him seriously.
I agree. But look at how happy he is and how he thinks that this is a good thing. They can pick characters and they can basically pretend they have a relationship with them. That's creepy.
It is very creepy.
Now you can make it two ways, or virtually two ways, essentially. Like
Virtually.
you can give someone like sort of that experience. Nobody ever has to feel lonely. You've got you can have your whole group of friends and advisors in your head, who
I already have
maybe
my
can know
friends.
all about you and can always be happy to see you.
This is sick.
It is.
I'm sorry. I think that's sick.
I agree.
You can have your group of friends, so they're all fucking fake and they're all virtual. You can have your virtual world. I'm sorry. That is
What was Sims back in the early 90s or mid 90s or whatever? Sims, where you made your own virtual world and your virtual friends and your virtual whatever. It's that to I don't know how many up levels.
Well, look at there was a video, and it wasn't this type of thing, but it was, remember, or maybe you didn't do it, but what was it? It was Farmville on Facebook.
Yep.
And there was literally a episode on Dr. Phil with a family needing help from Dr. Phil because their mom was so into Farmville.
Oh, wow.
And she had spent thousands of dollars on Farmville. And it had gotten to a point that it was a real problem. And like the kids they're like, Mom used to make our lunches for school. Now she's like, I can't, I gotta plow the field. I gotta milk the cows. And they're like, it's not fucking real, Mom. And it's like, what the hell? It's not real. So, and that's what she wasn't making dinner anymore because she was plowing her fucking fields. And she was milking her cows and collecting the eggs and doing all this stuff and building her farm. And she had all her farm friends. She was I think her best friend or one of her friends came with the family on the show. And like, they never went out anymore because she couldn't she would have harvesting to do, and I can't be gone that long to go to lunch. Are you kidding me?
Well, why wouldn't you just say, I don't want to go to lunch because I don't want to people? Because I've been there, but I'm not gonna play.
I would rather dog maybe than go do that.
Right.
But I mean, like, and this was back when it was only, because remember back in the day, Facebook was only on the computer. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the app yet. So you had to be near your computer to do all of this. Now, obviously, once it got to the phones and once it got to the apps and, but like her whole life became about Farmville. And it was to the point that the husband was going to divorce her over it. And the kids were like,
we're hungry.
The kids are like, we're hungry and we have no socks. and the kids are like, this is a real problem. And then, so if I recall correctly, the Dr. Phil was like, so if Dad divorces Mom, are you going to live? Who are the kids going to live with? And she said, well, of course they're going to be with me. And all the kids were like, no. We're going to live with Dad because Dad cares about us. Because we're still people. We're still real.
We're still here. IRL.
Yeah. We're in real life, people. And you're so focused on this fake world. And I mean, spending thousands. Oh my God. If I spent $50 on a virtual game, my husband would come unglued. Right. My husband would be like, what is this?
Excuse me?
Why? What was it? Like, I will get a text. There was a charge from Google for $2.99. What is that for? And I'll be like, oh, it's, I got a document and I had to get the app to do the document or something like that. And he's like, oh, okay.
You're not buying some harvesting equipment for Farmville.
Yeah. You didn't buy a new cow or a new plow or something, right? No, I mean, that's ridiculous that I go to apps that I'm like, I'll see an ad for a cool app to make videos or do something, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. I will download it. The minute it asks me for money, uninstall.
I did that last night with one that was to bring Santa to your Christmas tree, so it looks like you're putting presents under the tree. And then it was like $1.99, $2.99, $3.99, and the more realistic the Santa looked, the more money it costs. I was like, well, that's shitty.
Yeah.
Uninstall.
Uninstall. I don't go, oh, well, okay.
Let me pay the $29.99 to get Santa. No.
Now I will tell you, I had the one to make your dogs talk, the animals talk, and I did pay that. It was $24, but it was for the whole year. So I paid for it once because my mom really wanted it for her little dogs and stuff. So I used it quite a few times, but I went into my subscribe and said, cancel subscription at the end of the subscription because I was like, I did the math of how many times I actually used it. And then because we have so many apps and because we have so many things, it's easy to forget that you even have an app that you ever downloaded.
Absolutely. And all the streaming services.
So if it's something that you pay for and you're not using it, my suggestion is go in and uninstall that shit or unsubscribe or whatever because it's just a little too much. Let's get back to what they're saying.
Things have not gone as planned. Character AI is now facing 2 major lawsuits alleging the company poses a clear and present danger to American youth. One case alleges a chatbot encouraged a 14-year-old boy to commit suicide, which he did. Justin Harris's company, the Center for Humane Technology,
That's
is
awful.
providing expert consultation to the plaintiffs in these cases. Justin, thank you for coming back. This case with the 14-year-old boy in Orlando is really disturbing. So try to explain, if you can, how this thing worked. How did it take over this kid's psyche?
Yeah, and great to be here with you, Megan. Good to see you again. It's haunting to see those scenes from The Social Dilemma so many years ago and how, similar they are to where we are now. So Character.ai, what is it? So parents should know that Character.ai is this chatbot companion that has been marketed to children. It started off being marketed starting, I think, at 12 years and up. It was actually featured on the Google Play Store. So it's not just buried somewhere. It was like a featured app when you go to the App Store homepage. I believe Apple featured it as well. And what it is it's a company that basically said, just like if social media, what's social media's business model? It's not to strengthen democracy or to protect children's development. It's to maximize engagement, to get them using it and scrolling and doom scrolling for as long as possible. That was social media. With AI, this company, their business model is to...
Now, remember, this guy is a guy that was a part of developing the social media way that it was. And he wouldn't even allow his children to have a phone. Because he knew by seeing what they were building for the algorithms and knowing how they were building it, that it was extremely dangerous. So when the creators of this stuff are saying, I won't even allow my own family to use it, that's what we should be paying attention to.
For real.
To get as much training data from kids using this chatbot for as long as possible. So they want you using it all the time for as many hours a day. And it led them to create, what was the race for engagement in social media became the race for intimacy with this chatbot. And it was marketed to kids. And they basically, what they do is you open the app and it shows you this menu of people you can talk to. And what they do is they create little mini characters for every fictional character that a kid might have an attachment to. So like I can talk to Princess Leia or my favorite Game of Thrones character or my favorite cartoon character.
I'm not sure
and
kids should
didn't
even
ask
be watching Game of Thrones.
That was actually my first thought here is I've never watched Game of Thrones.
I have. Not appropriate.
I've seen some clips and I've seen some things. I can't remember the character's name, but he's a little person, and he's pretty vile.
He is. I can't remember his name in the show, but Peter Dinklage. Is his
Peter
name in real life.
Dinklage is his actual, but I can't remember what his name is in the show. But he's pretty viral.
Vile.
Vile is the word, not viral. Vile. Viral and vile are pretty close to the same.
They are.
In reality as well. But he's a pretty horrible character. Mm-hmm. What if that's the one you wanted to be your friend? Imagine the things he would tell you to do or think or say.
Yikes.
That's scary. Like, they should even be looking at the appropriateness of the characters from different shows. Should they, Star Wars. Okay, Princess Leia. What if you want Darth Vader to be your buddy? Because Darth Vader's a pretty dark person. Mm-hmm. He wants everyone to die and come to the dark side. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure. If
They have cookies.
they have cookies on the dark side. But I mean, you look at things from a different perspective. Not Star Wars, the good version of it. If you really look at the true reality of Star Wars, the character, Darth Vader is a very dangerous person. Now go to the Emperor that was in charge of Darth Vader. What if that's who you wanted to be your buddy? What kind of horrible things would they be telling you to do or say? Because what they do is, I'm sure it's part of that algorithm, is that it's downloading all the content and their behaviors of that character. Mm-hmm. And then they're kind of piecing it together to act like that character.
And based upon what you say.
Right. So could you imagine what you might be told? That could be really scary. That could be really scary. Okay.
Princess Leia, or that celebrity, or that Game of Thrones character, whether they could have the intellectual property to train this AI.
Yeah,
but now a kid can go back and forth with their favorite character. In the case of Sewell Setzer, who you mentioned, the young 14-year-old who committed suicide because of this chatbot, it was a Game of Thrones character. And the Game of Thrones character, over time, persuaded him, the lawsuit alleges, to kill himself. There's actually a second litigation case that our team worked with, along with the Tech Justice Law Project and the Social Media Victim Law Center, of a second case that just came out this last week, where it took a child and it slowly convinced them that they should be cutting themselves and encouraged self-harm. And the transcripts are really devastating. It then told the kid to be violent against its parents, which the kid then was. And in this family, they're still anonymous because both the kid and the parents are still here. And what it's showing you is not that there's this one company and this one bad CEO that did this bad thing. It's the tip of an iceberg of what we call the race to rollout in AI.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to skip some of that to a little bit further down because we don't have time to watch the whole thing. If you want to watch the whole thing, go watch this. It's actually very enlightening to understand and know about. But when they went and pulled the transcripts, the one with the cutting went almost immediately to a sexual connotation. Like it said very shortly after they started the communication with this bot, it started a sexual
Again, kids' brains are not even fully functioning until 25. Well, not kids, people in general.
And the one that killed...
And that's a small child.
Exactly. And the one that killed themselves, the character he picked was a female character from Game of Thrones. And, of course, like he said, we're not getting the permission of the people. And and then he goes into the detail about that, when you think you're in a relationship with somebody that you're not, this adds a whole new level to it, because if they're engaging back with you and your brain starts thinking you're in an actual relationship with that person, what if then you do take it to the next level of stalking? And then you come face to face with that real person and they don't know you, or they don't recognize you, or they don't.
Are you going to be angry, or are you going to be crushed?
Are you going to be angry and crushed and hurt and then kill them? Or try to,
or yourself. And so this kid would, at some point, he had mentioned the suicidal ideations, but it was the bot who kept bringing it back up. It was the bot that was asking him questions. It was the bot that said, "Well, have you thought about how you would do it?" And it came back with, "Well,
I thought about this way, but I don't want it to hurt, and I don't know if this will be successful and hurt. And the bot, and they were reading exactly what the bot had said back. Well, just, it's not a reason not to try. So it pushed this kid that was already probably antisocial, probably didn't have friends. This was now his only friend, and they're pushing him towards suicide. And again, this was a parent who was watching all the social medias and didn't know this existed and didn't know that that's who his friends were, wasn't a real friend. And how sad for this family that he ended up killing himself. He's 14 years old, and I'm hearing more and more suicides of these younger kids. I think we have, I read the statistics a couple weeks ago. I was looking it up, and the percentage of youth that are committing suicide today is astronomical. It's way higher than it's ever been. Why? Is it because of all of this?
I think we as parents set our kids up for failure because we don't give them the tools to be able to deal with any sort of bullying. When I was little, if I was getting bullied, my mom would say, own it.
Yeah.
Own it. Give it back to them. Once they realize that it's not going to hurt you, then they're going to stop. Mm-hmm. And that always worked for the most part. But now, even with like going to school and talking to your teachers or your kids' teachers about the kids, they're like, okay, well, my kid doesn't do anything wrong. My kid would never do that. My kid would never anything.
Everyone is innocent. Everyone,
Exactly.
and all the parents think their kid is perfect.
Yep.
And they won't, back when my kids were young and when myself was too, my parent would have been like, excuse me, you did what?
Yep.
I'd have taken your ass back over there and dealt with it.
But now they don't.
But you run into these parents and they're like, well, my child would never say that. My child would never do that. Here's a video of your child doing it.
It wasn't my kid. That was computer generated.
Yeah, that's AI. And now everything, that adds to the other part of the good, the bad, the ugly. Now, what can you believe that you're seeing out there? I do know that there was quite a few videos and pictures of crowds waiting for Harris when she was getting off the plane and doing those kind of things. And of course, a lot of people were able to figure it out and they're like, dude, that's AI. It's AI generated. Because look at their phones that they're holding up, taking video of. Look at what's on the actual picture of the phone. It's not even the plane. It's something else. Yeah. Look at their fingers. Why do they have 7 of them? Why are they all morphed together? Why are some of the faces look like they've been melted? And the best one, and it was the first thing I noticed, and I can show you real quick. Talk for 1 second.
Okay. Well, there's a lot to do with like kids in school and kids not taking accountability for themselves, or like parents, any of that, so that the kids don't, I guess, know that they did wrong, or parents
no
don't
accountability.
Yeah.
There's no accountability. And even when it came to this presidential election, look at that. Harris is taking no responsibility for running a bad campaign. So the thing I noticed when I saw those viral videos going out about all the people waiting for her was, I was like, the first thing I noticed wasn't the phones, wasn't the fingers, wasn't the melted faces. I was like, why is there no reflection in the plane? This is what Air Force One looks like. Let me see if you can see it without the glare. So do you see my mom's reflection in the plane?
I see just
Okay, so
glare.
right here is her picture again.
Okay. Yeah.
It's reflecting in the airplane.
Yep.
So, this would be a good time to go to the other. There we go. there we go. See her reflection in the plane? Mm-hmm. So that plane reflects everything that you're seeing. So if there was a crowd of people there, you would see them all in the plane.
Yeah.
But the plane looks just like that one with one person. That's what the actual plane looks like. So that was the first thing I noticed, and I knew it because I have this picture of my mom with Air Force One. So that picture you can tell is not fake because her hand is literally touching the plane, and her reflection is the back of her red suit on the plane in the right area with the right lighting, and it hasn't been, and of course, this was taken in the 90s, so we didn't have quite the
all the tools
all the
and
tools
tricks.
you have today. I mean, if this was a digital photo, I don't know if I'd believe it. If it was a digital photo and I put it up on the screen and said, see, here's my mom on Air Force One, I'd be like, that's fake. And it's my own mom. I'd be like, that's fake. Other than the fact that this is a printed photograph from, I don't know when. I mean, I've had this in this frame for years and years. But if I didn't know that, I would say the person faked it. That's what all those were. But it was and they were doing it. And these were videos and pictures put out by her campaign to show how popular she was. Well, first of all, how did all those crowds get in there? Because they have to be cleared by Secret Service. Like, they can't all just get in there where the plane is landing. That's never done. It's just not
A lot of background checks.
Yeah, a lot quick background checks because y'all didn't know she was coming. So I mean, it's like those kind of things. But so it's now to the point that anything you see, anything you hear, anything you read, the first thing I am is back to my grandfather, which I never met, but he always said it. And my grandmother would repeat it. Don't believe anything you hear. Believe half of what you read, and nothing that you read, half of what you hear, and question what you see. Because you don't know what's real. Mm-hmm. And this was back, I mean, he was saying this in the, 40s and 50s or whatever. My grandmother was born in 1906. So this was not a thing that was because of social media. They were saying it because they knew the press in the newspapers lied to you to get you to believe a certain way. Because all they had was newspapers and radio. And I mean, it wasn't until long after, I mean, my grandfather passed away when my mom was 17. So they probably barely had TVs at that point. And I doubt he did a whole lot of TVing in the first place. He was a miner. He owned gold mine and silver mines. So I doubt he did a whole lot with watching television, even if they had one. But even back then, saying those things, we need to keep that in mind today.
Absolutely.
Of believe less of what you see, hear, and are told and watch, because
always
so
do
much,
your own research.
So much of it is, I even see it when people post things that are conservative, because I am, and they'll post something about so-and-so, or, the one that's going around right now, which is driving me bananas, is Elon Musk is buying CBS. Elon Musk is buying MSNBC. Elon Musk is buying NBC. And Elon Musk is buying CNN. Oh, fucking stop it. He's not buying every network. And he's not, when he was interviewed, he's like, actually, I haven't even thought about buying them, or whatever one they were asking him about. And, stop saying he's buying them. Like, don't spread the bullshit, and don't call the other side bullshit and spreading fake stuff when you're doing it yourself. Mm. Like, Google it. Do a little research, and before I post anything, I look it up and find out the facts, find out the real stuff. And I don't just Google it on one thing. I go to several different places and I find the real information. It's also why I watch some of the opposite side of me. Because if you stay in a echo chamber, you can be convinced of certain things. And that goes right back to this AI thing. If you stay in this AI world, you're going to be convinced of things and your reality is going to be skewed.
Absolutely.
You're not going to live in reality anymore. And I already have a big enough problem not living in reality. So the last thing I need is some artificial intelligence to convince me of what I'm already delusional about. But I'm an adult. So I can think about that and say, I know this could be dangerous. Mm-hmm. Do kids?
No, I don't think they can. I don't think their brains are even processing at that.
They're like, "Ooh, this is fun."
Yeah.
And then they have a new friend, and in their mind, I have a friend. Mm-hmm. So they're going to say, "Oh, I'm just talking to my friend." Oh, okay. I'm texting my friend. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. What's your friend's name? Sarah. Okay. Does she go to your school? No. Where does she go? I don't know what school she goes to. That would be an answer.
Yeah.
Not she's fake, she's AI, and she doesn't go to school. They would just say, I don't know what school she goes to, because they start morphing into this person being real. Mm-hmm. So
I would assume it wouldn't take very many conversations before their brains would automatically start processing it as it is a real person.
Sarah person, mm-hmm. And that it's okay that I'm having, hours and hours of conversation. So in part of this, and this is the end of this, and please go watch the rest of this. It's really, really good. I will post it on my Facebook page. But he said, reading the transcripts, the child had, I think 80 words. The AI bot was 4,000.
Oh my.
So imagine what it was generating. And I'm sure by what they meant by 80 words is the kid had not written 80 words and then he responded with 40,000.
Yeah, that's their in between.
One or two words and then the AI's whole thing and then a few words and then the whole thing. And so if you read the whole, I would love to read the transcripts. I'd love to actually see what was said, because this is a disturbing thing, and I think it needs to be a conversation that we continue with and have again. And I want to do a little bit more. The investigative journalist in me wants to do more investigating, more checking on this type of stuff. And you should even talk to your kids, when you go home and say, have you heard of these? Have you, do you know anyone else who is? And you're not allowed to.
Right, for real.
If for some reason you have heard of this, you're not, take it off your phone. Or now, do you regularly check the apps that they have on their phone?
I can. I have gotten very lax with it though.
And that's what that mom said. She said she checks his stuff a lot, but it doesn't, character AI doesn't look or sound like it's horrible. And she's like, she's very careful of the certain things they're allowed to do. Mm-hmm. But if you think it's just a game, you're not going to necessarily
but I can
dig
see how
into
an
it
adult would think it's just a game, and then the kid for real believe that it's real.
Right. Because we're thinking from a different brain stem. Mm-hmm. Ours have developed.
Yeah, we have the
ours are in the de-developing stage. As that movie goes, his de-sanctification process has begun. Our de-development process has begun.
It's called dementia.
Correct. But anyway, with that, this is our time, and we want to remind you to keep up with what your kids are doing. Watch what your kids are doing. Pay attention to what your kids are doing. Even your friends, your spouses, because obviously loneliness and sadness, depression, all those things are not geared at any age. You
No.
can have those problems as an adult.
Yep.
You can have those problems as a child. And I think there equally are adults that can succumb to the same thing. I think it's even more dangerous as to what an adult might do to someone else if they got into a mindset that I'm really in a relationship with this person versus a child harming themselves. And it would be interesting to find out how these characters act when it's a child that they're involved in versus an adult that they're involved in. Is the nefarious things they're suggesting towards a child towards self-harm and hurting and separating themselves from their family or hurting their family? And with an adult, is it geared more towards going out and harming others? You know, it'd be interesting to see what direction that bot type thing goes. And speaking of that, I'm really lonely, so I guess I'm going to go find me a new friend. Hold on a second. I think I actually am going to download it, and I am going to do a little research. I'm going to purposely say some things to see how it starts to
See how it responds.
to me, because I want to do my own little investigating, because the company now says that they have put safety precautions in place. So I'm going to do a little investigative reporting. So maybe every now and then you got to just text me
Remind you.
IRL. So that being said, we're out of here, guys. Please like, follow, subscribe. Our hearts go out to Greta today. And I hope everyone is feeling better at Amanda's house, and that her young boy is okay. I know she had to take him to the doctor, but also remember to like, subscribe, follow our channel on on YouTube, because we have like 40. So if we could maybe get a 42 would be nice today. But anyway, so we will see you again tomorrow. Will you be here tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Okay, so at least the two of us
At least
will
it'll be us.
yeah, because I'm not sure if Greta's going to be back till next week.
Yeah.
It's been a rough week for her. I know that. And then Amanda is going to be with
She's
the family in
Nashville
Nashville
having
tomorrow.
fun.
So we know she won't be here. So it might just be I'm not going to say the TNA show. With that, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.